So when will Fallout 5 be released? Now that Fallout 4 has pretty much reached the end of its life cycle, I decided it's time to start putting out some Fallout 5 speculative content on my channel. Now it's going to be something I only post very rarely. I know some other channels make kind of a living out of this. I don't really want to be one of those, but I figure some speculation here and there is okay. I also want to make a lot of this very fact-based, and I don't want to just make broad leaps and massive assumptions. So regardless, in today's video, I do want to talk about when I think Fallout 5 may be coming out. Basically, I envision two possible scenarios, so with that, let's just jump right into it. So the situation is, I don't actually think Bethesda will be the ones behind Fallout 5 or Fallout New Orleans or whatever you want to call the Fallout 4 sequel or the next game in the Fallout series. Obviously, they did something similar with Fallout 3. Bethesda did make Fallout 3, but then Obsidian Entertainment did make Fallout New Vegas. But we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. So first and foremost, who is Bethesda? This is actually something really important that I don't think a lot of people realize. Basically, Bethesda is kind of two different companies. There's Bethesda Softworks and there's Bethesda Game Studios. So Bethesda Softworks is the parent company. It's basically just a publisher that owns a bunch of different companies and helps publish through all of ZeniMax subsidiaries. So it publishes for stuff like ID Software, Arcane Studios, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, Battlecry Studios, etc., etc. Bethesda Game Studios is the developer of the Elder Scrolls series as well as the Fallout series. So from this point forward in the video, I'm going to refer to Bethesda Game Studios as just Bethesda, and I'm going to refer to Bethesda Softworks as Bethesda Softworks. Again, that's going to be the publisher, while Game Studios is actually the developer. Bethesda is run by Todd Howard. I'm sure you've heard of him. Basically, he's the executive of that. He did say in an interview at DICE Summit, which was earlier this year, and this is going to be an exact quote, "The studio has two major projects, two major games that they are planning on doing before they get to an Elder Scrolls 6. So basically, it seems like, and a lot of other details were added in outside of this quote, but Bethesda, the game studio, does actually want to work on two new IPs. So there's going to be two totally new standalone games, which is actually going to be pretty unique for this company, considering in the past they really only have worked on Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. So I'm excited to see what those are about, but that's not really relevant to this video. Regardless, it seems like even the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be pushed pretty far down. It might not be coming out for like 3 or 4 years, and then Fallout 5 would only be coming out after that. And I think that's pretty generous. I think it's more realistic that the Elder Scrolls 6 may be coming out even farther down the line, considering game development times are pretty much like 2 to 3 years depending on how big of a game it is. So regardless, for that reason, I don't think Bethesda is going to be creating Fallout 5 or whatever the next Fallout game is. So what makes me come to this conclusion? Well, basically, I don't really see, if this is the case and Bethesda is going to make the next Fallout game, that could be a 10-year waiting period, which is a really long time, especially in the gaming industry. Fallout 4 was the most successful Fallout by a long shot. They made a ton of money on it and the IP grew massively. The inclusion of mods on consoles made it so Bethesda didn't really have to put in a ton of extra work to create the platform appropriate for that, but they made a ton of extra money through console sales, and all around the game just did much better than previous Fallouts. I believe Fallout 4 sold 12 million copies in the first day, while Fallout New Vegas only sold 5 million in the first like 5 days. That's a big money difference, and I'm sure with the release of console mods way down the line, it only boosted the sales, making it kind of generate more and more income as time went on. So now, taking that into consideration, why would they wait 10 more years to release another game? That just doesn't make any sense in my eyes. So what I think is going to happen is they're going to have a similar scenario to what happened with Fallout New Vegas. That being, they're going to reach out to an outside developer to actually make the game, basically the exact same scenario that happened with Fallout New Vegas. From a business standpoint, this makes a ton of sense. The Fallout name will sell, and Bethesda Softworks, now we're talking about the publisher because they're the ones that actually own the IP to Fallout, are going to make a ton of money from this. So the way it would work is the developer that's making the Fallout game will get a kind of X amount of money up front and then a cut of the game sales, but Bethesda Softworks would take in a huge check with all those different game sales, and frankly, it seems like a scenario where they would make a lot of money. Again, Fallout 4 almost sold 3 times as many copies as Fallout New Vegas, and even with Bethesda Softworks taking a smaller cut, I definitely think they would still make a lot of money, and again, this just seems like the most sound and smart business decision. I don't see how they would pass up this opportunity. So it's for that reason, I think a Fallout game will be coming out in the next 2 years. That's my kind of estimate. So that being either later this year, which I think is very unlikely, but I think the more realistic release date will be later next year. This will create it as a really nice stepping stone in between whatever that game's called and the new Elder Scrolls 6, which should be coming out maybe 5 to 6 years down the line. I also think in between now and then we may see another remaster of one of the older games just because of how well Skyrim Special Edition did, especially with the inclusion of mods. So who's going to be developing the game? Well, as I did say earlier in this video, Bethesda Softworks does have a bunch of different subsidiaries. The only two that don't really have upcoming games right now are going to be Tango Gameworks, which were the creators creators of The Evil Within, and Machine Games, which are the creators of Wolfenstein, both the New Order and the Old Blood. So those are two potential ones, or they could go outside to something like Obsidian again, although Obsidian's supposedly working on a different game, but there are a lot of other game companies out there to potentially create this. So again, this is my speculation. This is what I just think is the most likely scenario here. I think November 18th or 15th or 16th of 2018, we will be seeing Fallout 5 or whatever the new game is going to be called. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys actually think about this? I'm going to leave a bunch of sources in the description to some of the information I did use in this video. Hopefully you found this video informative, or at least kind of getting you a little bit excited for the next game. I would love to see it come out later this year. I think that would be awesome, but I don't think that's very realistic. If you did make it to this point in the video, let me know by commenting Mudcrab in the comments down below. And again, I'm going to be reading through the comments. I'd love to see some of your guys' speculation or what your opinions on this subject are. With all that being said, I thank you for watching again, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.